Michael from Ronin Media, and today I want to show you how to take a time-lapse photo with the Lumix GH4. So it's a very easy process, especially with the GH4. It's got a built-in feature for time-lapse videos. Quick few little tips before I actually show you how it's done. What I like to do, even during the day, I like to slow the shutter speed down a bit so you get a bit of a motion blur. It looks a lot nicer than just sharp images moving very quickly. I like the bit of a blur. It gives a sense of movement and things like that. So at night time, you obviously have to use a longer shutter to let in more light. Another tip is always leave the camera on manual. If you don't know what you're doing, it helps to take a photo in auto. If it came out nice, look at the settings and use those settings, but lock the camera in manual and also use manual focus, because what can happen if you don't do that, each photo can have a different exposure. So you might have one that's dark, one that's bright. You know, if the light moves in the image, if you're taking a video of a time lapse of a sunset, it's getting darker, so the camera's going to compensate. So your image is going to get brighter towards the end of the time lapse. It's not going to look very good at all. So best thing to do, manual everything, manual focus, manual exposure settings, slow the shutter speed down. During the day, this isn't always possible, but that's why you should get an ND filter. I'll be reviewing the one that I have pretty soon. It's a really cheap one that is amazing. Just to quickly tell you, the one I bought was about $17 off eBay, and I've compared it to one that I've used that was about $140. And there is no difference. I actually prefer the cheaper one, so I'll do a review on that maybe in my next video. So during the day, you're gonna have to use an ND filter if you do want to use a longer exposure, because even if you see your aperture to the highest number that it goes and your ISO to the lowest, sometimes it's still too bright to have a good shutter speed. So the good thing about the GH4 is having the live view, so you can see what your photo will look like almost before you take it. So you can see what the motion blur will look like and all those types of things. So basically with the ND filter, it allows you to basically tint the lens so you can run a slower shutter speed and block some of the light coming in. So when I say slower shutter speed, there isn't a perfect number because every scene is going to be different. Some of them I do, 1 second during the day. 1 second's pretty long when it comes to a bright day. So anyway, they're my little tips, and let's get stuck into it. I'll show you how to do a time-lapse video on the Lumix GH4. Okay, so just quickly, I've changed cameras. This is the Canon Ligria Mini X. I'll be using this to show you what I'm doing on the GH4. Okay, so first things first, make sure your dial here is on M. That's basically manual. P is another reasonable setting, but as I said, the exposure might change during your photo, so you don't really want to use that. Sorry, having trouble focusing here, but yeah, so this dial on M for manual, and then go over to this dial here, and your shooting mode should be on the last one, which is a time lapse. Now if you're not in photo mode, you will not see the settings. You'll not see the settings in here for time lapse. So but now that we are on the second screen, so you can see there 2 out of 7. On the second screen, we just go down to time-lapse animation and press enter, just using the arrow keys. This is touchscreen, so you can also hit the screen. So the mode, time-lapse shot, start time now, or you can start it whenever you like. And here's the important stuff, so shooting interval. So this is how often your camera will take a shot. So usually you stay between 1 and 2 seconds. If it's a slow scene and nothing much is happening, I can increase that. So if I'm trying to get a time lapse of some clouds and it's moving very, very slowly, I might make that 5 seconds or something like that. If it's a really long one and you don't want a whole heap of images, you can set a longer shooting interval. So for me, it's usually 1 or 2 seconds. And then image count just depends on how long you want it to go for. So you can see down there, it'll tell you when it will end. So 10:26 p.m. If you look at the time now, it's 10 past 10, so it'll run for about 16 minutes. Once you've done that, so pick how many images you want. I think it roughly works out 100 images is about 4 seconds. So if you're doing 25 frames a second, 100 photos will be about 4 seconds, roughly, I think, from memory. So we just press set, ready to go. So we can half press our shutter now if you want to. Manual focus, get your focus setting set up. And what we'll do as well, So for this, say I was going to do a time lapse here, which I wouldn't, it's extremely boring, but I'll have my ISO on 200. Let's, we're gonna have to bring, first we'll play with the aperture, so we'll bring the aperture down to bring some light back in, as you can see. So that lighting is, that's on the lowest aperture, the lighting is looking good. Then we'll go to shutter speed, and we'll just, so 1 second's a good speed, as I said, depends on your scene. If you want some motion blur, the more motion blur you want, the higher the shutter speed you can go for. If you just want a quick snap, then you can just make it even shorter. So but you can see we're getting darker now because it's going to be such a quick snap. So I think that's a good number. So let's get our focus right, manually, as I said. So just focusing, focusing, focusing. And we're in focus there, got my focus peaking on. Then what I like to do, just before I start, sometimes I will turn this knob up here, back to the single shot mode. And I will just take a shot just to see where we're at. So, and yep, I'm happy with that. So turn the knob back. You'll see here, it's got our start time, shooting interval, and image count. They're all the settings we did before. If you want to change them, just click on your menu button. Sorry, that's really dark. Your menu button there, and time-lapse animation, you've got the settings all over again. But basically, let me just hit go and we'll show you what happens. So that's it, it'll continue to do that till the images are finished. You can stop it by pressing the menu button a few times, then ending time-lapse shot, and you can, at the end of the time-lapse, ask if you want to create a video. Let's just go through that so I can show you. Create a video now. Yes, this is what will happen at the end of your time-lapse. So you say yes, it'll ask you the quality, so I just go 4K 25 frames, there's the frame rate there. Sequence, you can go reverse or normal, so just go normal, and we go OK. And it will tell you how long it's going to take to create the video. You just press yes, it will create the video. It's usually a lot quicker than the time says. That said 1 minute, it's pretty much finished. And you'll see the video, there's not going to be any movement because nothing was moving, but very boring. But I'll show you a time lapse now that we've done with those settings. So that's it. It is very, very easy, especially on the GH4. A lot of other cameras you've got to manually take that many shots and then combine them in software, but the GH4 makes it very, very easy. I hope I explained it nice and clearly. Hope the video was okay. The other camera's good, but not the best in bad light. So yeah, I hope that was good. I'll leave you with a time-lapse video, and I was going to do this video outside and actually do a time-lapse, but sometimes the sun, it will shine on the screen. It's a bit hard for the other camera to see what I'm doing on the screen, so I thought it was clearer if we're in a controlled environment I could show what I was doing on the screen. And now I'll leave you with the time-lapse that I did earlier today. Hope you enjoy. Please subscribe. Any questions whatsoever, please let me know in the comments below. Please like the video, and that's about it. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.